corporate life does not have to suck. I think we've all been in places where it does a little bit. We really wanted to build a company that is incredibly hardworking and focused and effective, but is also very human and very collaborative. So I think that as you grow globally, especially, is something you need to maintain a focus on from the top of the organization in order for it to really be able to continue.
Welcome to Grow Think Tank. This is the one and only place where you will get insight from the founders and the CEOs of the fastest growing privately held companies. I am the host. My name is Gene Hammett. I help leaders and their teams navigate the defining moments of their growth. Are you ready to grow? Many CEOs of companies get really nervous when they have female employees that are about to have babies. Well, it's not just female employees that are having babies. You want to make sure you're prepared for parental leave, no matter whether they're female or male across the company, because it's the right thing to do. If you have a company that has employees, then you've got to prepare for these parental leave opportunities. Well, I say opportunity because it's not just a sentence for you to go through stress and struggle and frustration. When you are prepared for parental leave, you actually can use it as a catalyst for growth for your company. That really is about you creating a place where it's more collaborative, where people understand what other people are doing, and that someone could step in if necessary. And that is the way fast growth companies continue to grow, no matter whether it's parental leave or other issues that may arise, because other people can step in. They're empowering these people in a unique, powerful way. Today, our guest is the COO of Globalization Partners, Debbie Millin. Debbie is the COO, and she's doing this interview a little bit different than normal because we would normally be talking to Nicole Sahin, who is the CEO, but she's out on parental leave. How do you prepare people across the company when they're going to go out for parental leave? When you think about your business, you want to make sure that you're looking down the road, not just at what's going on right now, not just at the companies that are competing against you, not just your customers, not just your employees, but some of these things you just have to anticipate. You have to be that visionary to say, how do we prepare for the moment when something like this happens? And parental leave is one of those things that a lot of people don't plan for. So this episode is just for you if you want to make sure you're leading your company to the right place. When you think about leadership, I want you to think about Grow Think Tank. If you have anyone that you know of that wants to be a stronger leader, make sure you refer them to the podcast Grow Think Tank. That's this show where we interview founders, CEOs, and their teams to help you grow faster. Make sure you do that every chance you get. We want to make sure you're inviting the right people. It's not about vanity numbers for us. We want to make sure that these people that want to grow, be better leaders, are listening to the show so they get the insights behind this. Now, here's the interview with Debbie. Hi, Debbie. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Fantastic. I've already let our audience know a little bit about you personally, and I'd love for you to let us know about Globalization Partners, what you're really best at in this world.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's great to be here. I'm happy to be here representing Globalization Partners. So we are an employer of record, and our mission in life is to let companies hire anyone, anywhere around the world. We have a legally compliant infrastructure in 187 countries around the world that allows companies to hire someone on our platform in a matter of days in some countries. So it eliminates the need to set up entities, have a back office, file taxes in all these countries. We take care of all of that so that our clients and customers can succeed faster and focus on their business.
Well, you've grown really fast over the years. You said in 2016, you were number 6 on the Inc. list. And you've been one of the fastest growing companies in Massachusetts as well. Is that about get it?
That is correct.
I'm sure you've gotten many other awards beyond that. One of the things that I was really interested in talking to you, originally we were supposed to be here with Nicole, the CEO, but she's out on a maternity leave. And I just got really curious around, how does a company prepare for a key employee, one's the CEO or maybe anyone else, to be able to step away for 2 months, 3 months, or even longer, and still keep the growth going. So when you think about that, what are some of the things that you guys had to plan for?
So very early in our organization, we had, maybe 5 or 6 people at the time, and we had several people that very early on went out on a parental leave and really had to, in my opinion, it helps the company to grow faster. So I actually first started at the company because one of the key folks was going on leave, and Nicole asked me to come help grow from 3 people to 5 people, because we needed to operationalize that person's job and break it down into reasonable chunks to be managed in their absence. And it really helped us develop this mindset very early on about structuring the company in a way that allowed new people to come in to take the knowledge of the people who were there from the start, and to take that and operationalize it from in a process perspective, in a tool perspective, and be able to structure the company and hire folks that could come in and really keep that going. We also send out an article for new employees it's about giving away your Legos. So basically, when you're working in a startup, you have all of these different jobs, and you really, you keep growing your Legos, and at some point you have to give your Legos away so that you can go get the new ones. And it's hard to do for some people, especially when you're there at the beginning of the company. But it's incredibly important to be able to rapidly grow, that you should always be looking at who can come in and do this part of the job so I can go do the next part of the job.
Well, it's something I think every business has faced, whether they've had parental leave or maternity leave at all. When you were planning for these things, maybe you were coming in for someone else. What did it look like when you had to take over someone else's job role?
Well, I think the first thing you need to do is really obviously sit down with that person and pull everything out of their head. I think particularly for early stage companies, it's very common for somebody to say, I would say, okay, write down exactly how this should work, and to go through it myself and then say, I don't understand how to get from number 2 to number 3. And the person says, oh, well, that's because you need to do this, this, and this. You have these innate things that just happen that you really, in order to scale, need to make sure that the things that the people are just doing without even thinking about it, that those are the gaps you need to fill, and that's how you can get to scale and move on to the next step.
My mind is kind of racing around. How do you keep this? Do you keep this in different kinds of documents, or is there one kind of repository that you have all of these kind of processes that you document?
I think it varies, and it really depends on the stage of your company and what your company does. I think there's probably 2 big ways to do that. One is to have, sort of the standard operating procedures and have this, repository of documentation. But I think the better way to do it is to take those processes and automate them as best you possibly can with technology. The things that are, repeated really should be built into a system. And again, that varies depending on, when you're an early stage company, you certainly don't necessarily have a big development team that can work on those things. But as you're growing, look for tools that are going to help you be able to scale and operationalize those sort of repetitive tasks, as well as sort of take the special sauce and automate that as you can.
I really love that insight behind, how to actually keep those things. I want to switch gears just a little bit here and just maybe talk about Nicole going out. Is this the first time she's been on maternity leave? Because I don't personally know Nicole.
Yes, it is.
Is it?
Yes, it's her first.
So, it's got to be a very difficult situation for a CEO to go, you know what, I'm not reachable for the next, let's say 3 months. I don't know what the plan is, but I'm just going to kind of make that up. Did you guys have to do a lot of planning to make sure that's possible?
Well, sure. There was definitely planning involved. But I think the bigger thing there is to be hiring really strong people at the C level, certainly, but across all levels, to really be able to have those, have that continued growth and ability for people to sort of step up and out of the details. It is hard for, Nicole is obviously our founder and CEO. I am a founding member of the executive team, so I've been around a really long time. And it is hard to let go of some things and step back, but you really need to be able to do that in order for the company to be able to grow and succeed. We did certainly plan things out in terms of sort of dividing and conquering some things and getting some, maybe exciting. We accelerated a few things to get done while she was with us and could plan some of those things out. But she has done a wonderful job of building an entire company of just amazing people and has complete trust in all of us to do our jobs and keep everything moving forward.
Hold on for a second. Debbie just said, hire strong people. When you have a fast growth company, you want to make sure you're hiring strong people. This means strong people at every level of the company, not just the executive level, not just at the middle management level, not just on the front lines, every level you can. You want to hire strong people. Why is that? Because strong people are able to absorb some of the challenges that are going on. They're able to get past the pettiness that happens in sometimes organizations that are growing fast. When you ask strong people to rise to the occasion, usually they're able to do that. Others will make excuses. Hiring strong people means you have to really understand the culture that you're building there, have strong leadership. If you have any questions about your own leadership and how do you create a place that strong people want to work with, make sure you reach out to me, Gene@genehammett.com. Now back to Debbie. So give me 2 or 3 of things that you feel like have played such a critical role in building that strong executive team.
Well, first and foremost, we've been focused on culture really from the beginning of our company. One of our unofficial sort of taglines is that corporate life does not have to suck. I think we've all been in places where it does a little bit. We really wanted to build a company that is incredibly hardworking and focused and effective, but is also very human and very collaborative. So I think that as you grow globally, especially, is something you need to maintain a focus on from the top of the organization in order for it to really be able to continue. And in terms of, we have an incredibly strong C-suite. And in terms of sort of finding the right people at the right time is always the trick. I think we have often erred on the side of getting someone a little early. I think I came in probably a little earlier than she necessarily needed to, but I think good companies, companies that really are rapidly growing, have that ability to see ahead a little bit and get the right people in the door so so you're not playing catch up and filling those roles as soon as it's possible for you to do so.
Now, one more break here. Debbie just said, focused on culture from the beginning. A lot of companies that are growing fast built it on a foundation of a strong culture. The people inside the business were hired in to fit that culture and to have values that are similar to each other. I see this in a lot of early startup fast growth companies. They focus on culture much earlier than their peers. When you think about your business and leadership, you want to make sure you're focused on the right culture. If you haven't already accessed the core principles of fast growth leaders, make sure you go to genehammett.com/principles. Those fast growth leaders that many of them I've interviewed on the show really provided some insight for you to know what builds a strong culture. Just go to genehammett.com/principles. Now back to Debbie. Well, I really appreciate us looking at that perspective on your executive team. And I know it's hard to talk about yourself and some of that. I want to also kind of include here, as you've been focusing on culture, you had mentioned earlier when we were before we cut on the recorder, how important the values are of the company. How many values do you have? I don't need you to go through them, but how many do you have?
We have 3 or 4 really core values that underlie everything. And I won't go through all of them, but I think at the core of it is that we're focused on our customer at all times and in everything that we do. And I think that just builds that community together.
Well, that takes me to one of the things that you said earlier, and your company's actually known for this, but you focus on the triple bottom line, which
Right.
is focus on employees, focus on customers, and the shareholders. Give us a little bit of understanding of where that comes from.
That comes directly from Nicole. And again, her philosophy of the entire company that it's built on. She really wanted to build a company where employees were valued and cared for, and that flows directly into the support of our customers. We are, as I said, focused on our customers and how our customers will be impacted by everything we do and how we can continue to add value. And of course, we wanted it to be a profitable company. And again, we had all of this rapid growth without investment for many, many years. We were famously bootstrapped. And we're able to do that because we were focused on all 3 of those things.
Well, when you think about, where the company is now and how you've evolved, you're able to have roles that can be absorbed by other employees, and that working relationship takes a little bit of a collaborative approach. From a leadership standpoint, what makes collaboration, happen on a regular basis in your company?
I know one of the things we talked about before is trust, and it is something that does come up a whole lot, but it really is at the core of all of it, which is why it comes up all the time. to trust that you've hired the right person, and then to let them really do their job. I think that is at the core of, any rapidly growth company. You need to get the right person in. And I think one of the things I like to do, especially in early stage companies, is talk about utility players, meaning you need somebody who's going to be able to wear lots of different hats because you don't know how the company will actually evolve. And I think it's important to have somebody who can do a broad range of things, and then as the company grows, that range often narrows a little bit into a specialty. But you need those people to be able to really help you grow and pivot as the company pivots.
I want to dive into this at a personal level with you, Debbie, and I'm not asking for your personal details here, but what are ways you've evolved as a leader through fast growth, and some of the things you maybe had to let go of?
I will give an example of our technology. So when we first started the company, we were looking at different technology, doing the very typical build versus buy, assessment, and no one really had what we needed because it was a very nascent industry. And so we decided that we would build our own proprietary platform, which we have done. I literally was, in very early days, scoping things out and doing, how should the functionality work, and doing data entry when we need to do data entry. So I was, it's very personal to me, and I'm very attached to it. But we got to a point where, of course, I cannot do things anymore. We had to continue to grow. So we, one of my favorite examples is, we brought in, we built a product management team. And at first people were like, I'm not really sure what that is. What is, what is product management going to do? And I said, just trust me. And basically operationalize my own brain, got, some strong people in the door to take that and really understand the platform and go. And I am so impressed with what they have done and where we are. And it's hard for me to let go of something that I was so involved in, but I knew that I had to in order for it to continue to grow and for the company to grow. And it allowed me to then move on and do other things within the company.
If you happen to be listening to this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to Don't Miss an Episode of Growth Think Tank. We want to make sure that you become the leader that you really want to be and the leader that your team craves. Just go to growththinktank.com. Don't miss an episode. Subscribe here on YouTube. And make sure you're listening to anywhere you prefer to listen to podcasts. Well, I appreciate you spending time with me today. I'm going to give you one last question to kind of bring this home. The role of being COO of a growing organization is not the easiest role in the world. You're kind of that go-between between a visionary CEO usually, and sometimes you have to implement things that are on timelines that aren't your own. What have you learned about this relationship between CEO and COO that has helped you guys work better together as the company has evolved?
I have learned that I think I might be the luckiest person in the world because I have worked with a lot of CEOs in my career. I'm pretty old. I'm one of the older people in the company. And Nicole is by far the best CEO I've worked for. And I'm not just saying that, because she's going to listen to this later or something. I think we really have developed a relationship where she is a brilliant business person. She sees the market. She sees exactly what we need to do and what our customers need. And I am able to sort of articulate that and convert it into actually, logistics. It is hard. There's pressures on every company, on every executive to get things done. I think our company does a really great job of balancing. I like to call it being realistically aggressive. We're really driving, forward and pushing the envelope, and our success has proven that has worked. But we also need to know when sometimes we also have to slow down to go faster and sort of get something adjusted and move forward. We famously, for one quarter early on in the company, we stopped selling for a quarter because we needed to do some changes operationally. And that's pretty unheard of. But we really thought it was important for us to get that foundation solid and let our clients and our customers and our prospects know. And we actually got a great feedback on that, that they really appreciated that how focused we were on making sure that we were going to deliver what we said we do, and we have.
Absolutely love talking to you here, Debbie. Really put our eyes on what maternity leave could be actual place where the company can grow from, or paternal leave. And I really appreciate you sharing all the ins and outs of what you guys have done at Globalization Partners. Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much for having me.
What a great interview with Debbie to talk about parental leave. It really is a very important topic that you want to make sure you're prepared for in your organization. And one of the things she said right at the end was, when they were growing fast, that they had to stop selling for one quarter. I want to make sure we address that here. Sometimes you have to slow down to speed up. And this is an example of that. The story that she shared about slowing down and not selling for a quarter allowed them to prepare their systems, their people, and really servicing the customers, building on the promise that they made when they actually signed up those customers. I say all this to you because I know how important it is sometimes to slow down to speed up. When you think about being a leader and growing your company, make sure you know that someone's on your side. If you want some special insight around coaching, make sure you reach out to me. Just go to genehammett.com/try coaching, TRY coaching. You can get a free session with me of coaching. It's not a sample, it's not a taster. This is a deep session where we actually get to know each other. I serve you, and we build a relationship. I'm not here to sell you something, but I am here to serve you as an audience member of the show. If you want to reach out to someone, talk about some of the things going on, get really clear about it, just go to genehammett.com/try coaching. When you think of leadership, when you think of growth think Think Tank. As always, lead with courage. We'll see you next time.